Good afternoon there, YouTubers. I don't see an awful lot of videos on smudge pots. I see a lot on the rocket stoves and other kind of things like that. I've had this old smudge pot for about 5 years. I run it on 100% veggie oil. I run everything I can on veggie oil. I had a 10 horsepower diesel engine hooked up to a 10,000 watt generator head, Harbor Freight. Bought the 10 horsepower diesel online. When I first bought it, I ran it for an hour on diesel, and then I ran it 100% veggie oil after that. About 3 years later, I don't have an awful lot of hours on it. I don't get to run these things as much as I would like while we're out in the out in the woods somewhere. But after a couple years, I did have to put a head gasket on it, but I don't think it had anything to do with the veggie oil, because it just burned clean and no smoke, and it was just great. I'm looking to buy another one. This old smudge pot, 100% veggie oil. Here's a little filler tube. There used to be a little tube that went down into it. I just filled this thing up. I just filled it up right up to the top. It's a little bit too full, actually, but it's got this little what the hell do you call this thing? It just limits the amount of air that can get into it. It just leans it out. So you start it up. All I do, dump a little gasoline, just about a cup or so, not even a cup. Throw a match down in there, and you're good to go. Yeah, you're good to go. It'll smoke a little bit up top. All you do is, after it gets going a little bit, you just cut down the amount of air getting into it, and it just cuts down the smoke immediately. Usually takes a few minutes to get it going. Usually I will have it running, within 5 or 10 minutes. I'll have it run with all the holes closed. It just sucks air up in through the pipe. Thing runs great. I get temperatures of 900, 800, 900 degrees out of it. The only thing I have a problem with is trying to capture the heat. I can't figure out a good way to use the heat. I can burn a lot of veggie oil, but that's not my objective. I'm in the process right now. I think I'm going to take this, looks like it's probably a 10-gallon propane tank. I'm going to chop off the top of one end, stick it down in a barrel, put this barrel sideways, I think. I don't know. I'm going to try to set this barrel. I'm going to cut the barrel in half, stick that inside here. Take that top pipe off. Let the heat from the flames from the from the bottom pipe heat this thing up. Have some pipes going sideways to create a heat exchanger for hot air, and blow it out into my shop once I get it all set up in there. It's just confusing. I'm not real good at this stuff, but anyhow, I just wanted to show you the care and feeding of a smudge pot. See, once you lean it out down there, cut off all the air, it just burns as clean as you could want. The only problem there is shutting it down. It does smoke a little bit for 5 or 10 minutes. And if you're in a residential area, it's kind of tough. I got businesses all around me here, and the bank right over here. They would probably complain. And naturally, well, they're not open today. It's President's Day, so. But the wind is coming from the south, which it never does here, and blowing right over into their parking lot. So. Oh well, stuff happens. Yeah, and I've started this thing 100 times, and that's the first time the flame popped back like that. That doesn't happen very often, but it's probably just because I got it so full. No big deal. There we go. See, if it wasn't so full, it'd have more of a flame. I filled this thing way up. With that, it's almost a 10-gallon tank. It'll run for like 18 hours, 20 hours. So it's pretty efficient. It does get a sludge in the bottom after a month or two. You know, depends on how often you use it. But after you shut it down, while it's still warm but not too hot, take that top pipe off. Just lay this thing into a, I got 55-gallon drums full of veggie oil just laying around here. A couple of them are just really sludge. So I'll tip this thing sideways or upside down and let the sludge drip out. While it's still warm, it'll drain out. So, and sometimes you have to get some plastic gloves on and try to stick your arm in there, or stick your hands down in there and get the stuff out, or whatever you need to do. All right, well that's about it. But it's running full blast, and there's hardly any smoke at all. Just got to figure out the best way to exchange. Get a heat exchanger. I've been thinking about putting just some pipes down. Give it a down and back up and down and back up and down and back up, just to get some hot air out of it. I used to have this thing on it, just trying to think of a way to get hot water out of it. I had this sitting over that, and it didn't seem to work so great. But I'm just trying to figure something out that makes sense, and that's efficient. But not using it, it's not efficient at all. All right. Thanks for watching.